Hello and welcome back to What If, where we take a look at the strange what if and Elseworld stories from Marvel and DC Comics. Today we're continuing the Superman and Batman Generation series with its third issue. This comic tells the story of the Caped Crusader and the Man of Steel if they aged in real time since their inceptions, very similar to the recent comic Spider-Man Life Story. Last time we saw the tragic deaths of Dick Grayson and Superman's son Joel Kent. The effects of those events should be interesting, so let's get into it. It is now 1979. Lois Lane throws down the newspaper on her hospital bed, shocked that she is witnessing the greatest story of the century that no one can ever know about. Bruce Wayne Jr. is marrying her daughter, Kara Kent. The two, of course better known in secret as Batman and Supergirl. Clark chuckles at Lois's outburst. He's glad that the world doesn't truly know the secret of the two. Clark soon steps out to allow for Lois's cancer treatment to begin. He travels to the rooftop, where he removes his old man makeup and flies off to the Daily Planet as Superman. Meanwhile, in space, Supergirl fights alongside the now third Batman to stop the evil Brainiac from destroying Earth. Supergirl keeps Brainiac's rockets off the Dark Knight while Batman uploads a virus into the alien computer's circuits. As Batman manages to fly away, Brainiac's ship transforms into a black hole, threatening to suck the backplane in. Luckily, even though she only has half the strength of Superman, Supergirl is able to keep the plane from disappearing. Back on Earth, Clark uses his supervision to watch this entire event unfold, proud of his daughter and soon-to-be son-in-law. His good friend James Olsen comes into the office, telling Clark that it's finally time for him to retire. Clark is astonished. He never thought he'd see the day the great James Olsen would leave the planet willingly. In the Himalayas, however, an aging Bruce Wayne finally reaches the summit of a great mountain. Before him lies the door to the secret base that he's been tracking for a while now, but Bruce's body gets the better of him, and he collapses before he can march inside. He awakens a short time later, tied to a chair. Before him stands Ra's al Ghul and his daughter Talia. Ra's congratulates Bruce for reaching their sanctum, telling him that he would expect nothing else from Batman and the man that he once thought would be his heir. They lead Bruce through the base, explaining that Batman had gone against the League of Assassins many times unbeknownst to Bruce. They have hands everywhere. Their tour reaches an end as Ra's gestures towards the glowing green pit. Behold, the Lazarus Pit. Back in Gotham City, BJ is on the phone with Clark discussing where his father might have gone this time. Though he tells Clark not to worry, BJ is afraid of what might have happened to his father. He is getting quite old. Hanging up the phone, BJ is greeted by his mother in a conspicuous red suit and floppy hat, her face hidden. They haven't spoken in many years. She tells him that she would never miss her son's wedding, and goes off to get his gift. Quick aside here, which seems to be normal in these Superman and Batman Generations comics, the identity of Bruce's wife and BJ's mother is never revealed. They keep teasing it throughout the series, but it's never exactly confirmed. There is one brief line that mentions she's a seller of antiquities, which could point to her being Catwoman, which is kind of what I believe, but they never do anything with this constant teasing. Like, it's never confirmed, so who truly knows? Anyway, Kara soon arrives, breaking the tradition of the bride and groom seeing each other before the wedding. She just couldn't wait to see her soon-to-be husband. She whisks BJ into the sky, and they begin to kiss. When BJ's mother returns, she finds Supergirl's costume floating down from above. Elsewhere, a man clad in a green power armor stands ready to complete his plan. His wife tries to talk him out of it, tries to convince him to live in peace, but he cannot. He flies away, ready for vengeance. Later, it's finally the wedding day. BJ smiles as he watches Kara walk down the aisle. They're quickly married, and afterwards, the guests continue to celebrate. But the party is ruined as suddenly the man in green armor arrives. He blasts Clark with a kryptonite ray, dropping him to the floor, gasping for breath. Kara stands, prepared to fight. "The suit blocks my X-ray vision, but the tech has Lex Luthor written all over it," she yells. Regardless of the people around, she changes into her Supergirl costume, but the armored man hits her with a sonic blast, knocking her away. Leaping into the air, the armored man gives chase. The rest of the guests are shocked. Not only have they learned that Clark Kent is Superman, but that his daughter is Supergirl. BJ rushes to Clark's aid, but discovers that he and Lois are trapped in a force field with their doctor. Clark orders BJ to go help Kara, and the young Batman rushes off. It is then that Lois's doctor reveals that he has been Lex Luthor in disguise this whole time. He knocks the weakened Clark aside and reaches out, snapping the sickly Lois's neck. Distraught, Clark rushes to his dead wife's side. "You animal! I'll kill you for this, or die trying!" Clark yells as Lex disappears. But before he goes, Lex promises to take everyone that Clark loves away. Meanwhile, the armored warrior has reached Kara. Supergirl, believing this man to be Lex, promises to mold the bars of his cell out of this armor. But the armor disintegrates, revealing that the pilot is in fact her brother, Joel Kent. Joel explains that his squad did in fact turn on him in Vietnam, but he managed to survive when a young Vietnamese woman took him in. He was then found by Lex Luthor, the only man he considered a father. Lex explained to Joel that his father, Superman, was the one to expose him to the gold kryptonite. Superman was afraid that Joel could be stronger than him. Once they returned to the States, Joel married the woman who nursed him back to health and worked alongside Luthor to plan his revenge. Kara is shocked by Joel's story, and even more surprised when he punches her with super strength, leaping into the sky. He now seems to have the same powers as their father. "He knew a girl would never be his equal! He knew you'd be the sniveling little lapdog you are!" Joel taunts. Kara tries to fight back, but the Superboy is too strong. Lex gave him this power, he explains. "The power to kill you!" he screams as he impales Supergirl with his fist, lightning cracking around them. With this done, Joel flies away. Moments later, Batman arrives. He finds his wife and cradles her body in his arms. Kara. Joel returns to their lair, but something isn't right. He feels strange as sweat begins to pour from his body. Lex admits that he thought this would happen. He explains that Clark always told him that he couldn't recreate his powers in Joel, and Lex admits that was correct. He tells Joel that of course Clark never lied to him, and that the serum coursing through his veins is now killing him. Superman bursts through the wall just in time to watch his son die. He tries to grab Lex, but discovers that the villain is just a projection. Alone, Superman is greeted by Joel's wife, the woman who saved him in Vietnam. She shows Superman his grandson. Batman arrives moments later, a surprising glimmer of hope in his eyes. "In this child, perhaps we've both been given something. A second chance." BJ believes this child would be the true union between their two families, and a hope for a better tomorrow. Jumping ahead another 10 years, we now arrive at 1989. "We have no choice, Mr. President," an aide explains as President Hal Jordan watches a video of Superman killing Lex Luthor. The aide explains that Luthor rigged it so that the video was released to the public after his death, letting the world know that Superman killed him. Jordan agrees, knowing that he has no choice but to take down the world's greatest superhero. He leads his cabinet beneath the White House, through the extreme security checkpoints and kryptonite radiation that was designed to keep out Superman. He leads them through the most secure facility on the planet, to the special kryptonite that Superman had given President Nixon long ago. Once they finally reach the maximum security vault, it opens to reveal that the kryptonite has been stolen. "I really hated breaking into the White House like that, but I knew that President Jordan wouldn't willingly surrender the kryptonite to me," Batman thinks as the Batwing screeches toward the Fortress of Solitude. He passes the giant key that is needed to open the main entrance to the fortress, knowing that he would never be able to lift it. Luckily, Superman had shown him the secret ways into the fortress many years ago. Landing at the top of the mountain, Batman slips quietly in. His scanners find no sign of Superman, and the Dark Knight knows that he has to draw the Man of Steel out. He looks around, seeing the memorials of Clark Kent's life, images of friends and family, and Batman knows what he has to do. He begins to destroy everything. He suddenly stops, though, as he comes to the statue of Kara Kent, his love and late wife. Superman appears, ordering Batman to stop, and the two come to blows, but Bruce Jr. actually manages to knock Superman down, shocked to discover that his blows bruised and bled Superman. Clark explains that he finally found Luthor after searching for 10 years. He arrived in the man's lair, where the villain showed him that he had systematically hunted down and killed everyone that was close to Clark. Angered and broken, Superman went to rip the man out of his chair, but discovered that he had been depowered by gold kryptonite. Finally, Luthor explained everything to the Man of Steel. He tells him, seemingly out of nowhere, that he is actually the Ultra-Humanite transferred into the body of young Lex Luthor after Superman had destroyed his body at the World's Fair 40 years earlier. Remember him? First episode? Check it out. With this same technology, the Ultra-Humanite plans to finally transfer his mind into the body of Superman. Perhaps he'd become the superior Superman. Trapped in an electric cage, Superman has no choice but to throw a piece of shrapnel, trying to pin Luthor against his machine long enough to find a way out. But what he didn't realize is that the shrapnel would destroy the computer, electrocuting Lex and killing him, thus transmitting the heavily edited video to the world. The Ultra-Humanite, of course, programmed this dead man switch to delete any evidence that he was anything but a victim. Bruce Jr. is shocked by Superman's story, but knows that there is only one thing they can do. It is a case of self-defense, but Superman must turn himself in. Batman is willing as ever to defend Superman until his last breath, but Clark has different ideas. Later, they stand before the Supreme Court. Clark, to the surprise of many, pleads guilty. He can't be certain that his actions were completely taken out of self-preservation. The man he knew as Lex Luthor had just committed terrible atrocities to his friends and family, after all. The courts take this into consideration and sentence Clark to a maximum of 10 years in prison, a quite moderate sentence granted to him because he's Superman. He gets a smaller sentence, he's Superman. This presents an issue, though. Superman is depowered, and he would never last in a Gen Pop prison, not with all the people he's put there himself. Batman agrees, offering a solution. He will use the Phantom Zone projector to send Clark into the prison dimension, to carry out the 10-year sentence. The courts agree, and Batman turns the device on his father-in-law and friend. As he begins to disappear, Clark looks at Batman. "I'll see you in 10 years. Perhaps by then you'll have made the world a better place." And there you have it, the end of issue 3 of Superman and Batman Generations. This book just keeps getting more complex and more tragic as time goes on, huh? Honestly though, I think this is my favorite issue of the initial run. The 1979 stuff with Joel is a lot of hokey fun, and it's a cool twist on the Supergirl death. All of the Supergirl stuff in this series is pretty neat, actually. Anyway, be sure to leave any ideas for future episodes of What If in the comments, and don't forget to check out our Patreon where you can get early access to videos like this, and exclusive bonus content for things like our podcasts. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you all next time.